Polly's pantry again. Well, kind of. Anyway, earlier, Polly made some chicken souvlaki meat. It's quite tasty. Can't wait to have some. But I figured, well, since Polly did that and made a whole bunch of other things, I thought maybe I would give a paw and cook up the chicken for dinner tonight. That way Polly doesn't have to do everything. So, the chicken went into a handy-dandy machine. So normally you would do the chicken with the sauces and everything maybe the night before and let it sit in the fridge. That way it gets all nice and yummy and flavorful. But if you don't have time to do that, then you can use this machine, and what it does is it sucks all the air out and infuses the meat with the yummy flavors for the souvlaki. Now we're using chicken. I guess you could use pork if you like pork better than chicken, or you could even maybe use beef or lamb. There might be a way to make this a vegetarian option, but I'm not sure how to do it. I'm a dog. I'm not a vegetarian. Anyway, so I have some of the chicken on skewers already, and that's what it would look like in the container. So all you need to do is, it's actually quite easy. Skewer, chicken meat. Just be careful of the fingers. You've got 5. You want to have all 5 when you're done doing this. So depending on how many people you're serving, just have a skewer for everybody. It works out to about a chicken breast per person. So I guess again, if you're doing pork or you're doing beef or some other meat, you're not going to have a handy reference of 1 chicken breast to figure out what that amount is. So, as always, you gotta wash the paws anytime you're handling the raw meat. Okay, so I'm using metal skewers. You can use metal skewers or you can use wood. It's really a personal preference. I have both. The metal ones are just more convenient and much easier to use. So if you're going to use a wooden skewers, they're very pointy at one end and not so pointy at the other end. If you're going to use these, you have to make sure that you soak them in water. If you have a glass long enough or tall enough to stand them up in, you could do it that way. Or just lay them in a baking dish. Make sure there's enough water so that they're in the water all the way. That way when you're cooking with them on the barbecue, they don't just go poof, burst up into flames. And also they don't splinter if you do that. Otherwise, you can just use a metal skewer. They're usually flat on one side, maybe a little bit rounded on the other side, and then you just slide the meat onto the skewer. If you were doing something other than chicken souvlaki, you could actually maybe add some vegetables in amongst the chicken too. Good suggestion might be onion. Ugh. This one doesn't like onion so much, but onion could be used. If all of the onions in the area weren't currently being recalled by the grocery stores, because they're bad for you apparently. I knew that all along. But anyway, you could put some onion in there. You could even put some pepper in there, like the bell peppers, the red ones and the green ones, something like that. Give it a bit more of a Greek flair, because it is Greek food tonight. So, barbecue's heated up, and just careful with the paws, you don't want to burn self. Get the barbecue hot and then turn the heat down. Things will stick to the barbecue, there's no question about that, so just mitigate. So skewers. There we go. So, need smell-o-vision one of these days. It smells yummy. Speaking of yummy, I'm going to show you something. So this is something that Sister Polly made earlier today, and I think maybe it's for dessert tonight. It smells quite tasty. Anyway, so put the meat on the barbecue. And like anything else, it depends on how big it is, what type it is. If it's beef and you've cubed it all up yourself, then you might be able to leave it a little bit more rare if that's what you like. But chicken, you want to make sure it's cooked all the way through. So these will take probably 20 minutes or 30 maybe. So we will check back on them very shortly. See you soon. Okay, so the chicken has been on the barbecue for a little while. I'm just going to give it a check and turn over the skewers. And there's a bit of a trick to this, so have a watch. You have to be careful. Don't want to burn the pot. So, I have one of these handy things. It's the original of glove. I think it's got Kevlar or something in it. It's also got little silicone strips on it so it's not so slippery. Wrong hand. And then I also have a handy dandy pair of tongs. So, easy thing to do. One end of the skewer is just pointy. The other end has a little handle. This way with the glove, see, it's starting to get lovely brown. This way with the glove, you can pick up the little handle piece and turn over the skewer. Oh, it's warm in there. And then you can flip it back over. And that way. So, yeah, you just have to keep an eye on the chicken. Give it a bit of a flip over every now and then, so it's nice and brown all the way around, and lovely and flavorful and crispy too. Yeah, so you just either have to use a pair of tongs on either end, or however you can, just get them flipped over. The convenience of the skewer is that the chicken doesn't spin around because it's flat on one side, like I said before. So when it goes into the chicken stays in place. So when you flip it over, the chicken doesn't spin around and you just end up putting the same piece back on the grill in the same spot. So anyway, we'll check in on this again in a little bit, and then I'll show you what else we're going to have with the dinner. It's going to be very tasty. See you in a minute. Okay, so it's almost time. Last thing to do, though, is we're going to have these lovely pitas. So there's different kinds of pita breads that you can get. These are fluffier. They're nice and light and airy because we're having tzatziki. Sister Polly made tzatziki tonight. That's why we're having all of this. It's kind of a Greek-themed dinner. So for the pitas, it's really easy. All you do is you need a little bit of olive oil and a brush. Put some olive oil on both sides of the pita bread, and poof, on the barbecue. It doesn't take long, and you just really want to do something like that to it. Get nice little grill marks, and then flip over. So the skewers are just about done. Just going to toast up the bread a little bit, and then I'll show you what everything looks like once it's all put together on the table. It is going to be so good. I wish we had smell-o-vision, folks, but unfortunately we're not there yet, but maybe soon. See you in a minute. Okay, so we're back, and we're going to serve. Smells so good. So you get your chicken off the barbecue. It's cooled down a little bit, the skewer has, so I can handle it. So chicken's on the skewer. All you do is just take your handy tongs, push off onto the plate, and make it look pretty. So there you have it. So I'm going to show you what we're having for dinner tonight, and then we're going to tuck right in. So eating al fresco tonight. So tonight for dinner we're having chicken souvlaki with some rice. Just some rice that was in the cupboard. Nothing fancy there. But this, heaven in a dish. Tzatziki, homemade by Sister Polly. And this in here is a lovely, let me just, hold on a sec. Let you have a look. So, lovely homemade Greek salad. So, cheers everyone. Thanks for joining, and see you soon. Bye for now. Ruff ruff.